Hashem Yahushua to all the sisters. I'm Priest and Officer Rab Mayam of the ISUPK under Commanding General Yohana. And as always, we teach the blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians are God's chosen people. Today I want to talk about how do we even know that we're Israelites? Because a lot of times we hear America teaches, especially blacks, they teach us that we're Africans, but we're not Africans. And we're going to get into these scriptures today to prove who the Hebrew Israelites are according to the Bible. Now, before I get started, I wanted to read some information in a book called From Babylon to Timbuktu. Young man, do you have, go to page 84 in Babylon to Timbuktu. He's got one.
All right, I got you.
And we're just going to get a little bit of history about the Israelites and what how they got into Africa. So Babylon to Timbuktu, this is one of the required readings that all Hebrew Israelites should get this book because it gives a lot of history about our people. So page 84, just read those highlighted areas for me.
In the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey.
So these are the armies of the Roman Empire under General Pompey. Read.
Captured Jerusalem.
They captured Jerusalem. Read.
In 70 AD, General Vespucian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state.
They put an end to the Jewish state. They captured Jerusalem and they put an end to the Jewish state because Jerusalem had the Jews up in there at that time. Okay, the Jews were the southern kingdom. That's who was inhabiting Jerusalem at that time. And he put an end to that Jewish state. Read.
With great slaughter.
With great slaughter. So he went in there with his armies and he started murdering and killing and just destroying the Jews that were in Jerusalem. Read.
The period of the military governors of Palestine, many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of
atrocities were a minute. Read
atrocities. Okay. Many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people.
Okay, so the people that were still left over that they didn't kill, there was many atrocities. Atrocities means there was many wicked and terrible things done to them. Okay, these were the people that were left over, that were still there, that they didn't kill. Read.
During the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews...
How many?
1 million Jews fled into Africa.
Okay, so during this time, because they started destroying Jerusalem and all the Jews that were in Jerusalem, the residue of those Jews, meaning the leftover people that were there that weren't being destroyed, they started fleeing out of Jerusalem to get away from the persecution of the Romans. So they started fleeing into Africa. So it says, read that part again, about 1 million.
It has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa.
So over 1 million Jews fled into Africa. So we started migrating into different areas, and that's one of the areas that we fled to was Africa. Is there any more highlighted?
Fleeing from Roman prosecution.
They were fleeing from
and slavery.
They were fleeing from the Roman persecution and slavery because at that time the Romans were starting to put the Israelites and the Jews in slavery. So they were starting to flee from this. So they wanted to get away from the Roman persecution. So they started, over 1 million Jews fled into West Africa. Is there any more?
The slave market were full of black Jewish slaves.
They were what?
Black Jewish slaves.
The slave market was full of black Jew slaves. Read.
And the Lord shall scatter among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other.
So at this point, the Lord started scattering all the Jews and the Israelites. He was scattering from them from one part of the earth to the other. So he was scattering his people all over the world. Read.
From scattered.
So all over the world he was scattering his people from one end of the earth to the other. Read.
And there thou shalt serve other gods.
Okay, now this right here is going into the scriptures in Deuteronomy 28 and 68. Read that.
Which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
Keep reading.
This prophecy and all residue of the prophecies contained in Deuteronomy on verse 28, 15 to 68 befell the black Jews after they disobeyed the laws of God.
Okay, so this is what happened. The Jews started disobeying the laws of God. They stopped following the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. So the Most High he caused them to start being destroyed. So he scattered them amongst all four corners of the world. Okay? So in Deuteronomy 28, read that part again about the wood and stone. Well, actually, hold off on that because I'm going to get into that a little bit later. Okay. Is there any more on that? Keep reading.
Okay. This prophecy and all the residue of the prophecies contained in Deuteronomy 28, 15 and 68 befell the black Jews after they disobeyed the laws of God. Many nations transported the Jews into slavery, and the son of Israel transmigrated to every continent.
Okay, so what happened was because the men of Israel did not follow the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, the Lord put all these curses on them. Okay, so they underwent all these different curses. Okay, and they were scattered amongst every continent on the face of this earth. So our people were scattered everywhere. Is there any more on that?
No, sir.
Okay, read that next part on page 121. Just that last paragraph.
There is much.
Read it loud.
There is much proof and still much more to be revealed by scholars that there existed prior to the slave trade and subsequent to it many Jewish tribes, colonies, and kingdoms in West Africa.
Okay, so subsequent to the transatlantic slave trade, there's evidence and there's proof that there were many Jews that lived in West Africa. Okay, so when they try to tell us that we're Africans, the people that went into the cargo slave trade is Africans, that's not true. These are Israelites that migrated into West Africa. Okay, now let's drop that and let's go into the Bible. Let's go into some of these scriptures. Okay, somebody go to Ezra, the book of Ezra, chapter 2 and verse 1. Now we're going to see how the Israelites determined back in the olden days who were actually Israelites. This is the way that they were proving what they called their registry. Their registry is what family or what tribe that they came from.
What verse?
Ezra chapter 2 and verse 1. Whoever gets it, read it.
Now these are the generations.
Read where you're at.
Right?
Read where you're at.
Ezra chapter 2, verse 1. Now these are the generations of the sons.
No, read that again.
Now these are the generations.
Are you in Ezra chapter 2, verse 1?
Ezra.
Now these are the children of the province.
2, verse 1.
You got that? Read
now,
that.
These are the generations of the
No, you got the wrong version. Read that, what you got.
Now these are the children of the province that went up out of the captivity of those which had been carried away.
Okay, so now it's talking about the children of the province. The province is the area that they used to live in at that time. And these were the ones that were in captivity. Okay, read.
Of those which had been carried away, whom
Nebuchadnezzar,
the king of Babylon, had carried away unto Babylon, and came again unto Jerusalem and Judah, every one unto his city.
Okay, so now Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar, he was coming on to Babylon. Okay, because he carried away all of these people out of Jerusalem. Okay, so let's drop down. So this is just what it's talking about. It's talking about, you know, how they were starting to prove who they were and what people that they were. So drop down to verse 59. Ezra chapter 2 and verse 59.
Ezra chapter 2 verse 59. And these were they which went up from Tel-Melah, Tel-Harza, Sherub, Adon, and Immer.
Okay, so these are just cities that these people were located in. Read.
But they could not shew their father's house and their seed.
So they could not show their father's house and their seed. This is how they proved who they were. Keep reading.
Whether they were of Israel.
This is how they proved whether they were from Israel. They had to prove their father's house by the father's seed. Okay, because that's how you determine who you were. That determined what tribe that you were from. Whatever your father's seed is determines who you are. It doesn't have anything to do with your mother or the genealogy of your mother. This is how the Hebrew Israelites used to determine who they were and what tribe that they were from, and what their registry was based on their father's house and the seed of their father. Hold your point just a minute. I'll get to you. So, I just want to explain this a little bit about the seed, okay? Because the life comes from the seed. The life doesn't come from a woman's womb. The woman is just the incubator that holds the seed that produces the life. And to give you an example, the man's fruit is his children, okay? So he produces his fruit. So if you have a fruit, like say you have an apple, and the seed from an apple, you plant that apple seed in France, what fruit will grow from that seed?
Apple, France.
An apple seed. An apple will grow from an apple seed. If you take that same apple seed and you plant that apple seed in Europe, what fruit will grow from that seed?
Apple.
An apple. It's the same thing with a man. It doesn't matter what woman he plants his seed in, the fruit that grows from that seed is whatever that man is. You follow me? Okay. Let's drop that and go to the book. You got a question?
No, not a question, but what's the topic again?
The topic is how do you tell that you're an Israelite?
How do you tell you're an Israelite? There you go.
Go to Titus chapter 3 and verse 9. So we're going to get into this because here at the ISUPK, we teach the truth about this Bible. We don't water this down. We don't teach the way the Christians teach. We teach you exactly what it says in this Bible because we got men of the Lord that hand down these scriptures and these precepts and teach us what they mean. They give us the breakdown of these scriptures. And that's our job, is to give you the breakdown. You have a question?
Can you repeat the Titus?
Titus chapter 3 and verse 9. Make sure everybody has their cell phones on mute. When you get Titus chapter 3 and verse 9, read it.
But avoid foolish questions and genealogies and contentions.
So avoid foolish questions and genealogies and contentions. Because in today's world, everybody is concerned about what their DNA is, where their genealogy comes from. They go to all these websites to try to find out who they are. They go to these DNA websites that'll say, oh, well, you're half black, you're 5% Mexican, you're 3% Irish, you're 2% this, you're 5% that. That doesn't tell you what your genealogy is. It doesn't tell you what your nationality is. Okay? According to the Bible, your nationality is where the seed of your father. Whatever your father's nationality is, that's what you are. So, in Titus chapter 3 and verse 9, read that again.
But avoid foolish questions and genealogies and contentions.
So contentions is, what's a contention? Anybody? A contention is like somebody that goes against you, a contender. All right, like in boxing, you got contenders in boxing. He said avoid those contenders. Avoid those contentions that come to you about foolish questions about genealogy. How do you know that you're an Israelite? You can't trace your bloodline all the way back to Jesus Christ. Well, we don't have to trace our bloodline all the way back to Jesus Christ because the Bible is going to tell us how we tell that we are Israel. Okay, keep reading.
And strivings about the law, for they are unprofitable and vain.
So when you argue about these things and you answer these foolish questions and everybody, wonders, how do you know that you're Israel? These are foolish questions about genealogy. We don't get into that because it's unprofitable and it doesn't make any sense. Okay? It's a waste of our time to get into that. We simply just get into the scriptures. Okay? Let's drop that and go to Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15. You need a King James Bible?
No, he got the wrong Bible. He think he got the right one.
No, he's got the right one. You had the wrong one.
No,
Here.
I downloaded the one you told me to.
Well, here, take the book because what you were reading in there was incorrect. He was reading the correct version. Here, grab this book right here and you can read out of
Yeah,
it.
did it? Okay, no, I got your Bible still though.
Oh, okay. All
No,
right.
yeah, I was just okay. That's why I said I don't believe in the internet Bible.
Right.
When I told you that,
Okay.
that's why.
All right, Deuteronomy 28 and verse 15. Now we're going to get into how we know that we are Israel. Okay? The Bible tells us how we know. And it's based on these curses.
Deuteronomy what?
Deuteronomy 28, and let's start at verse 15.
Alright, I got it.
When you get it, read.
Okay. But it shall come to pass.
Read where you're at.
Right?
Read where you're at.
Deuteronomy.
Read it loud.
Deuteronomy 28, chapter 15. But it shall come to pass.
But it shall come to pass, meaning this is what's going to happen. There's going to be a time when this is going to happen. Read.
If thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
If you do not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, hearken means to listen. If you don't listen to what God is telling you, read.
To observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day.
So if you don't listen to the voice of the Lord God and do all his commandments, not some of his commandments, not only the 10 commandments that you feel like doing, not the commandments that, that other people are telling you, you don't have to do these commandments, all you have to do is these commandments. No, it says here, read that again.
But it shall come pass to, if thou wilt not hearken unto the path, if thou wilt...
Read that again. Slow it down.
My bad. But it shall come pass to...
Come to pass.
Come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments...
All his commandments, read.
And his statutes.
And his statutes, read.
Which I command thee this day.
Which I command thee this day. This is a commandment to command thee this day. This is when Moses, after he went up and talked to the Lord on Mount Sinai, he was up there with the Lord for 40 days and 40 nights. And the Lord revealed to him all of these commandments to take down to the children of Israel, because that's who Moses was leading out of Babylon, or out of Egypt, and he led them into the wilderness. He led the Israelites. So the Lord gave Moses these instructions for the Israelites. These were laws, statutes, and commandments that were for God's chosen people, which were the Israelites. These laws weren't given to anybody else except for the Israelites. Keep reading.
That all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Now, if you don't listen to the voice of the Lord thy God and to do and observe all his commandments and his statutes and his laws, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Now, now we're going to start getting into how we're identifying who the Israelites are. Because the Lord says that if you don't do my commandments, these curses shall come upon you. Now, all of these curses have to apply to your nation of people. So as we're going through this, let's see if these curses apply. Let's see what nations of people that these curses apply to. Let's start here with Deuteronomy chapter 15 and 68. Let's start with 68.
Can you repeat the...
Deuteronomy 28 and 68. Read it nice and loud.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
So the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Now this is during the Exodus. Okay, when they came out of Egypt, the Lord said, you will go, that the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Now we all know when we left out of Egypt and we were going into Jerusalem, that was in walking, well, they walked there. There was no body of water that took them from Egypt into Jerusalem.
Yes.
So when it's talking about Egypt here, this is talking about a Greek word that means bondage. This word here is talking about bondage.
Slavery.
Okay? So the Lord shall bring thee again into bondage again with ships. When did people go into slavery or into bondage? By ships.
When the white man came, when the Europeans came and took them out of the land that Moses took them from Egypt, and then came into North Africa or whatever, South Africa, and took the Hebrew Israelites, not the Africans, the Canaanites, the Hebrew Israelites, and took them into bondage.
To keep it more simple, the transatlantic slave trade.
The transatlantic slave trade.
The transatlantic slave trade. That's when they went to West Africa, and they put Israelites on cargo slave ships and transported them into Northern Africa, Northern America, to become slaves. But these aren't the only people that went on ships to go into slavery. You know, Hispanics also went on ships and they went into slavery. They took some of the Hispanics out of Northern Africa where they already were, and they put them on cargo slave ships and sent them to Spain and Brazil and some of these Hispanic countries, so-called Hispanic countries. And they put them on the cargo slave ships so they can go to these places and become slaves there. Okay? Keep reading.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again.
Thou shalt see it no more again, meaning that you will not see your homeland no more again. You will never see your homeland no more again, because they're going to take you from your homeland and they're going to put you on these cargo slave ships and they're going to transport you miles and miles away, and you will no longer see your homeland. Read.
And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
And there you shall be sold unto your enemies. So the Bible is clearly letting us know who our enemies are. Let's just examine that for a minute. When we were in West Africa and we went on the cargo slave ships and we were transported over here into North America, who were we sold to?
For bondmen.
No, I'm asking a question. Who were we sold to?
The Europeans.
The Europeans. That's who we were sold to. We were sold to the white man.
The Gentiles.
That's who, and the Bible says we were sold unto our enemies. That's who our enemies are, according to the Bible. We were sold to our enemies. Let's not have cross-talking in here, okay? If you have a question, raise your hand and I'll get to you. All right? Hold your point. Read.
For bondmen and bondwomen.
For bondmen and bondwomen. What is a bondman and a bondwoman? Go ahead.
A woman or a man that can be sold.
No. What's a bondman or a bondwoman?
A woman or a man that has a bond on them.
No. What's a bondman?
Someone that purchases you out of servitude for their servitude.
When you're in bondage, what does that mean?
You're trying to get sold out. You're trying to get out.
You're enslaved.
You're in slavery.
And you're trying to get out.
You're in bondage, it means you're in slavery. For bondmen and bondwomen, meaning for slave men and slave women. When you're in bondage, you're in captivity. Okay? That's what being in bondage means. Okay? Read.
And no man shall buy you.
And no man shall buy you, meaning that no man will be able to save you from this captivity. Because back in earlier times, when people went into slavery, your family member could pay some money to get you out of that bondage or to get you out of that slavery. But this time, when you get on the cargo slave ships, no one will be able to save you from that bondage. You got a question?
Okay, you said, what is it called? The transatlantic?
Transatlantic slave trade.
Transatlantic. Okay.
So blacks and Hispanics and Native American Indians were being scattered all over the world with ships. to become slaves. Okay? Different areas of the world had certain resources that were not available in the British world. So what they did was they conquered these nations and sent these resources back to Britain. So they had these slaves that would pick all these resources and commodities, and they would transport them back to Britain. So blacks and Hispanics and Native Indians were the most valuable commodity during that time. They were more valuable than the corn, the cotton, the sugarcane, and all those other commodities that they used to ship. The slaves were the biggest commodity that there were. When you had a lot of slaves, you became very rich. Okay? So they would work in places like tobacco fields. You know, our people went into slavery in tobacco fields, coal mines, gold mines, sugar fields, cotton fields, rice fields, coffee fields, wood mills. You know, they also had us doing slavery in farming, picking fruit and vegetables. Okay, like bananas, oranges. You know, they made us our people picking these fruits and vegetables. Okay, so slaves were also trained in as skilled workers. You know, they would train some of the slaves to be carpenters and masons, cattlemen. Some of the women they would train to be seamstresses, blacksmiths. You know, and they also had domestic slaves that worked inside the homes. They would do all the cooking and the cleaning and the washing and the serving, the butlers and the maids, the nannies. You have a question?
Nigga. But, no, yes. What do you call it? Dang, you lost me already. I was say, you lost me.
Okay. So just imagine how rich white Americans became because they did not have to pay to have all these things done. They didn't have to pay to have these workers. Can you imagine if you have a factory? Let's say you have a furniture manufacturing company that you're manufacturing furniture to sell. Okay, manufacturing means that you're putting it together. Okay, and you don't have to pay those workers to put that furniture together. All you have to do is ship it out and sell it and make the money. That's how they became rich, off of the bones and the blood and the sweat and the tears of the blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. Okay, you have a question? Yes. Okay, read verse 16. Deuteronomy 28 and verse 16.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 16. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
Cursed shall thy be in the city. Let's just bring that to today's life. Cursed shall thy be in the cities. Who is cursed in the cities these days? Who lives in the worst ghettos and barrios and neighborhoods and projects in the world?
Minorities.
Blacks and Hispanics and Native American Indians. The reservations. We are cursed in these places. There's no jobs. They infiltrated it with drugs. You know, we're killing each other. You know, the black and Hispanic man is the largest population in the prison system. You know, we can't feed our families. We're on drugs. You know, that's a curse. We're cursed in these cities. All the cities that we're in. Look at Detroit. Look at Chicago. Look at Los Angeles. You know, look at Atlanta. You know, all these cities. Dallas, Houston.
Hey, be quiet, Jaden.
We got these poor communities, black and Hispanic communities, that are being cursed. They can't do nothing in these communities. There's no jobs. There's no opportunities. There's no education. You see? And cursed shall thou be in the fields. You know, whenever we working out in the fields. You know, look at today. They've got the so-called Mexicans, which are the Israelites, working out in all these vegetable and fruit fields.
Yeah.
You know, in California, you could drive down the highway and you could see all the Mexicans working in all these fields. They working in the hot sun. You know, they working them to death out there. Yeah. You know, we're cursed in these fields, and they're making, you know, under minimum wage. That's a curse. We're cursed in these cities, and we're cursed in these fields. Read.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 17. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store.
Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. whenever you want to go get some food, we don't usually have enough money. We got so many starving people that can't even have food for their own families. You go into the store, you can't even fill up your basket with a bunch of food, you know? But the white man, he's going into these stores, he's got 3 and 4 shopping baskets full of food that he's bringing home to his family. You know, we go in there, we got to go into the Dollar Tree or the dollar store, the 99-cent store, you know, and go and purchase 99-cent milks and 99-cent and barely have enough to fill up our baskets. So we're cursed. Keep reading.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 18. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body.
Cursed shall be the fruit of your body. What is the fruit of your body? The fruit of your body, we just talked about the seed of a man produces his fruit. The fruit of your body is your children. Cursed will be your children. The fruit of your body will be cursed. So the same curses that you're going through, your children and their children will go through these same curses. Read.
And the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep.
Okay, and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kind. You won't be able to multiply. The Lord says, be fruitful and multiply. The increase of your kind. Your kind can't increase because they put in place things like Planned Parenthood, where they allow abortions, people to have abortions. You know, over 400,000 black women have abortions a year. That's not helping us to increase our kind. They're trying to destroy our people. There will be no increase. We won't be able to be fruitful and multiply. There was a time when blacks and Hispanics, they had 10, 12 kids growing up in a household. That wasn't uncommon. Actually, that was a very common thing at that time, you know, to have 12 kids living in a 2-bedroom house. You have a question?
What does fruit of thy body mean again?
The fruit of the body is your children.
Your children's children.
Yeah, is your children, is the fruit of your body.
The seed of your children.
It's also called your seed, and that's what we call it in the black communities today. Your seed, this is my seed. When you talk about your son, this is my seed. You know, the seed, the man's seed produces a fruit. The fruit that it produces is his children. Okay? Keep reading.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 19. Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out.
So when you come into this world, you're going to be cursed. As soon as you come into the world, you're going to be cursed.
Yes, sir.
Because you're an Israelite. And because your forefathers did not follow the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, so now the curses are upon his seed, his fruit. So when you come into this world, you're going to be cursed. And when you go out of this world, you're going to be cursed as well. Keep reading.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 20. The Lord shall send upon thee cursing.
Okay. The Lord shall send upon thee cursing. Okay, cursing is bad things that'll happen to you. That's what this is meaning by cursing. He shall send upon you cursing, which is bad things that will happen to you. Read.
Vexation.
Vexation is being bothered or being distressed. That's vexation. We will always be worried about something. We will always be bothered. We're always in a state of distress. Read.
And rebuke.
And rebuke, to keep us oppressed. That's what rebuking means. It keeps us down. We'll always be kept down. Read.
In all that thou settest thine hand unto for to do.
So everything that you set your hands to do, you are going to be cursed, vexed, and rebuked. Everything that you do, anything that you set your hands to do, bad things are going to happen to you. You're going to be distressed all the time and worried, you know, and you're going to always be oppressed in anything that you set your hands to do. Keep reading.
Until thou be destroyed.
Until you are destroyed. That's the purpose of the other nations, is to destroy us. That's what they want to do. And they will not stop until they get total dominance and destroy us. You know, when they used to have the black man and working out in the cotton fields, they would work that man to death. And I mean literally to death. They worked our people in these slave fields and these plantations until they dropped and died. Until we were destroyed. Keep reading.
And until thou perish quickly.
Until we perish quickly. Read.
Because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me.
Okay, because of the wickedness the Israelites did, this is why God is going to forsake us. Because we did not follow him. We started doing these abominable things. We started doing all this wickedry. We started sleeping with other men's wives. We started becoming homosexuals. We started eating pork and shrimp and crab and lobster. We started worshiping all these other idols. So because of the wickedness of what we did, God will forsake us. Keep reading.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 21. The Lord shall make thee pestilence cleave unto thee.
The Lord will make the pestilence cleave unto thee. Pestilence is diseases. Okay? Our communities are plagued with diseases. You know, we got high blood pressure, diabetes, HIV. You know, our communities are plagued with these diseases. And these diseases will cleave unto thee. Read.
Until he have consumed thee from off the land.
Until it has consumed us. Read.
Whither thou goest to possess it.
So anywhere you go to live, these diseases are going to plague you. You're going to have cancer. You're going to have high blood pressure. You're going to have atrophy. You're going to have all of these diseases. Okay? Keep reading.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 22. The Lord shall smite thee with a consumption, and with a fever, and with an inflammation.
Okay, so the Lord is He's going to smite thee with the consumption and with the fever and with inflammation. Okay, we're gonna get things like gout. We're gonna get venereal diseases where we're gonna have extreme burning. You know, these are certain diseases that our people experience, and it's almost prevalent in the Black and Hispanic and Native American communities. All of these things are going on in our communities. Read.
And with an extreme burning, and with the sword, and with blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish.
So all of these fevers and inflammations and extreme burning and with the sword means killings. You know, killings will pursue us. Our black people and Hispanic men are getting killed on the streets. You know, these are things that will smite us. These are things that will consume us. Okay, the Lord shall smite thee with the sword. You know, every day you hear about a black or Hispanic man getting killed out on the street that's unarmed or innocent or didn't do nothing or was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. You know, these are curses that are coming upon our people. Keep reading.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 23. And thy heaven that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron.
Okay, so, and thy heaven that is over thy head shall be brass. This is talking about the military forces. You see all the military planes that fly around? This is what it's talking about. The military, that's the brass that's in the air. That's the brass that's in the skies, is the military. Just like in Tulsa, Oklahoma back in the 1920s, when the military planes came and destroyed, you know, Black Wall Street. It's like it. They destroyed Black Wall Street. And not only did the people on the ground come in and set it on fire, they had the military planes come and drop bombs on all the black churches, the black hospitals, the black courthouses, the black businesses, the black schools. Military. That was the brass that was above. Okay? And the earth that is under thee shall be iron. This is talking about the jails and the prison. Okay? While we're on the ground here, we're constantly in these jails and in these prisons. You know, I think something like 98 78 or 80% of the prison population here in America today is filled with blacks and Hispanics. That's the iron that's here on the earth. They want to keep us in slavery. Okay? The 13th Amendment says that that slavery has been abolished unless a man is incarcerated or put in jail or prison, then he can still be treated as a slave. You know, the prison industrial complex right now is the largest, the fastest growing business here in America today. You know, because they're using our blacks and Hispanics to do contracted work, contracted labor. Sit on this side, sister. Contracted labor to make other people money. You know, that's another form of slavery. You know, that's the iron that we're underneath here on earth. Keep reading.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 24. The Lord shall make the rain of thy land powder and dust. From heaven shall they come down upon thee until thou be destroyed.
So, you know, we won't even be able to grow crops or anything because the Lord is just going to bring us dust storms. Okay? The rain, thy land, the Lord shall make the rain of thy land powder and dust. We're going to have a bunch of dust storms where it's not going to allow us to be successful at growing, you know, crops and stuff where we can feed our people. Okay? Keep reading.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 25. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them and flee 7 ways before them.
Okay, so the Lord will cause us to be smitten before our enemies. Smitten means to be hit or destroyed or beat up or, you know, killed. We will be taken down by our enemies. Okay, this is what the Lord is letting happen to our people, and that's what's happening in our community today. We talked about this earlier, how our black people are being destroyed, how they're being killed out on the streets. You know, every day you're hearing something about a black or Hispanic or Native Indian man getting killed out on the streets or gunned down. Okay, so the Lord shall cause thee to be smitten, to be destroyed before thine enemies. So he's you know, we're being destroyed before all of the people on the earth. You know, the white man, the Asian man, you know, they're killing us right in front of these people. You know, I saw some videos where a black man would come out of the house all hostile with a knife in his hand, and the police would shoot him down. And then I would see another video where a white man comes out with a knife in his hand, and he's actually swinging it at the police and getting in a fight with the police, and they haven't done nothing to him. You know? This is what's happening to our people, you know? Keep reading.
And flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth.
So that's all we can do. We can just flee in 7 different ways because we can't fight them, you know? We can't pull arms together and go to war with them. You know, they manufacture the guns. You know, we would be fools to think that we could just start getting guns and start shooting up our oppressors. You know, that's not what we do. You know, we fight this spiritual battle. You know, and the way that we fight this spiritual battle and win is to follow the commandments and the statutes and the laws of the Most High. This is how we win. This is how we're going to win this battle that we're in right now. Until we can, you know, come back and start following these laws and statutes and commandments, you know, we're going to continue to be under oppression. We're going to continue to be smitten. We're going to continue to be killed. We're going to continue to be put in prison. We're going to continue to be, you know, disrespected. We're going to continue to be working in these fields. You know, we're going to continue to be in these low-income housing areas, living in these ghettos, because we won't follow the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Okay? Keep reading. Verse 26.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 26. And thy carcass shall be meat unto all fowls of the air, and unto the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray them away.
Okay, so where are we at? 26? And thy carcass shall be meat unto all the fowls of the air and unto the beasts of the earth. So every other nation of people, we will be their prey. Everybody. You know, you see the West Indians coming into the East Indians coming into our communities with all these liquor stores. They coming into our neighborhoods with liquor stores, and they're taking all of our money. They put a liquor store on the corner of every poor black and Hispanic neighborhood. Those are the East Indians doing that. You know, you got the Arabs with the 7-Elevens and the, you know, well, the East Indians got the 7-Elevens too. They got the gas stations. They got the chicken places. You know, we were just talking about, me and a Hispanic brother, we was just talking about the so-called Mexican grocery stores that they have out here. Vallarta and Cardenas. These ain't owned by Mexicans. These are owned by white people, and they just employ Mexicans to make it appear as though these are Mexican-owned places. But they fill these places, the white man fills our cities with these type of stores, and he just eats us dry. He eats our flesh. You know? That's what it means that we shall be meat unto these beasts. You know, we're their meat. You know? You got the Koreans coming in with all the hair, the nail shops and the hair supply stores, and they're moving them right into our communities. And they're making all the money off of our people. You know, let alone the government bringing in the drugs into our communities. You know, that's meat for them too. You know, so whatever money the government isn't getting from the drugs that they're infiltrating into our communities, these other nations got their businesses set up in our communities, and they're eating the rest of our money. Okay? Mm-hmm. Keep reading.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 27.
Let's continue with 26.
And unto the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray them away.
Read. Oh, and no man shall fray them away, meaning that no one will frighten them away. Nobody's going to frighten these men away. Okay, they're going to continue to come in there into our communities, and nobody can frighten these people away to get them out. You know, I was watching this one video a little while back, and it was a Korean, I think it was a beauty supply store. And the Korean man in there, he was accusing of a black woman of stealing something which she didn't steal, and he started beating her down in the in his hair supply store. So the black men in the community decided that they wanted to go on strike and petition that business, and they wouldn't allow anybody. They were trying to petition that nobody in the community go into this store because they disrespected our black women that live in our communities. You know what that Oriental man did? He made a sale, 50 to 70% off on everything in my store. There was a line around the block to get into that man's store. So nothing can scare this man away. Nothing can scare these people away. They don't care if you boycott their store. They're going to find a way, to get the people to come in there and still suck the rest of our money out of them. Keep reading.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 27. The Lord will smite thee with the botch of Egypt and with the emerods.
The botch of Egypt is talking about every bad thing that happened in Egypt is happening to us today. Everything that we're going through today is the same thing that was happening in Egypt. And with the emerods is talking about hemorrhoids. That's what emerods are. Our people are plagued with those hemorrhoids too. These are just more curses that are being amongst our people. Keep reading.
And with the scab and with the itch, whereof thou canst not be healed.
And with the scab and the itch, these are diseases that we have. We got itching, scabs. These are amongst our people in all our communities, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. These are popular things. We learn how to, there's remedies that we learn. Homemade remedies, how to get rid of the scabs and how to get rid of the itching. You catch venereal diseases and you itch it. You catch them crabs and you itch it.
So we're cursed by that. We shouldn't be going through that. But that's a curse that we got.
That's the curses that we're under because we don't follow the law, statutes, and commandments of God.
But if we did, we wouldn't have to worry about none of this stuff that we're talking about.
If we followed him, we get blessings, and we're going to get into that. Okay? Now, keep reading.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 28. The Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart.
So he will smite thee with madness. Okay? Smite you with madness means is we go crazy. You know, there's so many mental health cases in the black and Hispanic communities, it's ridiculous. You know, he's going to hit us with these mental issues. You know, schizophrenia, paranoia. You know. Go ahead.
What does a punishment of heart mean, though?
Where we at here?
It says the Lord shall smite.
An astonishment of your heart.
With madness.
With madness and blindness. Okay, the blindness that we will.
Astonishment of heart.
Well, first let me just finish here. I'm getting to that. Okay, I'm in the madness right now. Okay, he's going to smite us with this madness, with these mental health diseases, and then he's going to smite us with the blindness. The blindness is going to be that we're so consumed in America that we can't even see who we are. We are so wrapped up and consumed in the Christian doctrine that we can't even look at anything else. We won't believe anything else.
Yeah.
You know, we just believe what's popular. We believe what's condoned here in America. So anything that's condoned, we feel that it's right. You know, America is saying that we condone homosexuality. There's a push for the LGBTQ, whatever that is, community. Okay? I mean, it's gotten so worse now, it's the LGBTQ2, LPTMN, they got all these other things. So any other, the transvestites and all the other stuff is included with that. You know? But we think it's okay. We're blinded by this. You know? Because the Lord tells us that this type of behavior is an abomination. But we're blinded because America teaches us that it's okay. Okay? So, an astonishment of heart. What does astonishment mean?
Right here.
How do I just get in?
Yeah, sit. Yeah, right here. Yeah. What does astonishment
I need the
mean?
Bible or?
Okay, this is what we do. When we don't understand what a word is, we get the dictionary out and we look up the word. Okay, so what is an astonishment? Is that the door?
Is it yours?
Hey, Solomon, get that. What is an astonishment?
I want to say like not an idol, but somebody you look up to.
No, somebody get the dictionary and look up the word astonishment.
To be amazed by something?
Hey, Shalom. Yeah, how about you,
To be amazed by something?
To be amazed by something, yes, that's an astonishment. Yes, but let's look at what the definition says. Hey, young man, can you grab one of these, or actually two of these chairs, and just put them over here, so because we got. Oh, Shalom, Yah Bashim Yah Shabbat.
The definition of astonishment is great surprise.
Yeah, grab two of these chairs and just put them over there on that side. No, not the camera.
Nah. One more?
Hey, Jovel, young man. Hey, check this camera. Make sure he just knocked it a little bit. Make
Nah,
sure
it's
we
working.
still got it straight.
You're still in the middle, in the center.
Turn it over. Turn it that way.
You get up and get that. Jovel, you get up and get that for me, man.
Right, that like that?
You got it. Yeah, it's a little more. Perfect.
One more chair?
Yeah, get one more chair over there.
Long.
Salakia, sir.
No sweat. Did anybody find the definition of astonishment?
Great surprise.
A great surprise. Okay, that's just like what you were saying. Okay, so an astonishment of the heart. That means that you're surprised about these things that are happening. Okay, keep reading verse 29.
I have to bring it back up.
Okay, anybody else got Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 29?
And thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind gropeth in darkness.
Okay, now what does that mean? That we will grope at noonday. Groping means like when a blind man is groping,
Feeling all around.
he's feeling around, trying to feel his way around. Okay, that's how we are. We're trying to find our way. We're like a blind man trying to find our way. We don't know where we belong. You know, we're all trying to fit in. Blacks and Hispanics trying to fit in somewhere. So we're groping around like blind men trying to find our way. Keep reading.
And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways.
And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways. So if you ever wonder why, here you're trying to be an entrepreneur, okay? And you're working 14, 18 hours a day, you're busting your butt, you're putting your all into it, and you just can't seem to be making any money. That's because this is a curse. The Lord ain't going to let you make no money. He ain't going to let you do this. I mean, there are some people that do become, they become wealthy in our communities, but we're talking about our nation as a whole. We're talking about all the blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians.
Right.
We cannot prosper in our ways. We cannot have businesses and prosper in these businesses because they won't allow us, because this is a curse. Keep reading.
And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed.
Thou shalt be only oppressed. This is what the Bible says, that we will only be oppressed. We won't prosper in any of our ways. We will only be oppressed. That means that the white man has his foot on our neck, and we can never come up. We can never become successful. We can never have that American dream with the big house and the white picket fence. We're oppressed. He will eat us up. He will use us, until we die. He will build his nation off the blood and sweat and the backs of the Native American Indians and the blacks and the Hispanics. We will never prosper. We will always be oppressed, and we will always be underneath this white man. Keep reading.
And thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore.
Now here, when it's talking about spoil, this isn't talking about, I spoil my woman, I give her everything. This spoil means that you'll be rotten, no good, dirty, foul. That type of spoil, like spoiled meat. That's what this is talking about. You will be spoiled. Keep reading.
Okay. And thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled even more, and no man shall save you.
And once again, no man shall save you. Just like we read in Deuteronomy 28 and 68, when we go into bondage, that no man shall save thee.
Yeah.
We're going to be oppressed, and there ain't no men that can save us. Okay, drop that in officer, can you pick it up here at Deuteronomy 28 and 31?
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 31. Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes.
Read that again.
Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof.
So your ox will be slain before your eyes, and you will not eat none of it. Okay? They will take your food. They will take your animals and slay your animals, and you can't eat none of them. Have you ever heard of the, what's that called, where they killed all the buffaloes, and they just took the skins and left the carcasses out there, and then the carcasses spoiled. You guys heard about that, haven't you?
I've heard it, but I don't know a verse.
Yeah, it's a time that happened in the Native American history, But
they use it as clothing and stuff.
If you got something to say, raise your hand, okay?
Oh,
Let's keep it order and discipline in here. Go ahead.
No, they use it as clothing and stuff, but they didn't do exactly what you said.
Right. All they did was they killed all those animals just for the carcasses and for the wool and for the skin, and they left all the meat behind.
Yes.
Okay, and the meat, there was so much meat left behind that it was just spoiling and getting rotten, and we couldn't possibly eat that meat. That's what this scripture is talking about. Keep reading.
Thine ass shall be violently taken away before thine face. Thy face.
Read that again.
Thine ass shall be violently taken away. Salaki, let me start over, sir. Thine ass shall be violently taken away from before thy face.
So your ass shall be violently taken away before your face. Your ass is like your tools. Okay? That's the tool that we use to help us carry these burdens that we have. Okay? So the tools that we use to carry our burdens will be taken away from us. Now we got to carry these burdens on our own backs, because the tools that we use to carry these burdens have been taken away from us violently. Read.
And shall not be restored to thee.
Read.
Thy sheep shall be given unto thine enemies.
Your sheep will be given to your enemies. Read.
And thou shalt have none to rescue them.
Okay, let's go to verse 32.
Verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people.
Thy sons and thy daughters will be given unto another people. That's what this slavery is about. You know, when they put us on the cargo slave ships, they stole our sons and our daughters and they gave them to another people, or they sold them to another people. Okay? And it's not just blacks. I mean, when I say blacks, you know, I'm talking about not only, you know, the so-called American, African America, but the West Indians too. The Haitians, you know, the Jamaicans, Trinidadians, Bohemians, you know, these are our people too. They went through slavery as well. You know, they went through all these same curses and they're still going through these same curses. We can't get no jobs today. You know, keep reading.
And thine eyes shall, Salakia, okay.
Start from the top again.
Okay.
32.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people.
So our sons and daughters will be given away to other people. Read.
And thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them.
And we'll look, we see them being taken away on these cargo slave ships, and there's nothing that we can do about it. We could just cry and look, and you know, our eyes will fail with longing. We're missing them. There's nothing that we could do. Read.
All the day long.
Read.
And there shall be no might in thine hand.
There will be no might in our hands. We cannot stop this from happening. We don't have no military might. We don't have no economic might. We don't have no physical might. We have no might in our hands to stop this from happening. All we can do is sit here and watch it happening. Okay, keep reading. Verse 33.
Verse 33. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up.
What is the fruit of your labors? Anybody?
Whatever you earn.
Whatever you earn, that's the fruit of your labor. It's your earnings. It says here, the fruit of your, read that from the top again.
The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up.
Okay, so your earnings is the fruit of your land. Okay, and the fruit of your labor is what you make. When you're out on your slave and you make that paycheck, a nation that you do not know of will eat it all up. Let's examine that for a moment. Okay? The fruit of your labor is your paycheck. Okay? The white man eats it up right away. The first thing he does is what?
Taxes.
He takes your taxes out. You know, you don't even see that. You know, you don't even see your full paycheck. He takes his off the top. The white man's going to take his off the top. Okay? Then the next thing that happens, they start eating your paycheck up, the fruit of your labor, even more. You got to pay your rent or your mortgage. Our people don't own these mortgage companies. Our people don't own these apartment buildings. There might be some of us that own, but our people as a whole do not own nothing.
Right.
Okay? They're not renting these places out to us. You know, then we have to pay the water bill. Our people don't own that. They're eating up more of the fruit of our labor. You know, the electric bill. White man owns the electric company. He's got a monopoly on the electric company. You know, and now they got a monopoly on the solar paneling. You know, here in California, everybody getting the solar paneling, but we don't own that. You know, so they eating up more of our labor. You know, then you got to buy food. You got to go to the white man's store. We were just talking about, you know, the grocery stores in the Hispanic areas, the Vallartas and the Cardenas, and that's owned by the white man. But they make it appear as though it's a Mexican-owned store because they got all the Mexican groceries and food in there. You know, but the white man owns that. They eat up those. You know, they eat up our labor right there. You know. Then we got to put gas in our cars. You know, we just talked about, you know, the East Indians owning these gas stations. You know, now they eating up the more of the fruit of our labor. You know, then you got your car note to pay for. You know, then you got insurance that you got to pay for. You know, and then he's hitting you any other bills, tickets, or whatever he can get you for. You know? And he eats up all the fruit of our labor. He eats it all up until we don't have nothing else. And then by the end of the week, or the end of the 2 weeks, or the end of the month, however often you get paid, you don't have nothing. Now you're starting all over again. You're going out there busting your butt, working hard for this man. He's making all the money, and then he's taking all your money right back.
Right.
You know, and you feel like you're doing something. You know, you feel like you're free. You're not free. This white man's eating up all your fruit of your labor. Okay? Read that from the top again.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 33. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up. And thou shalt be only oppressed.
What?
Thou shalt only be oppressed.
Be what?
Only oppressed.
And you will only be oppressed. Read.
And crushed.
And what?
And crushed.
Read.
Always.
Always. You will only be oppressed and crushed always. These ain't my words. You know, this is the words of the Bible. See, this is what the Christian church is not teaching us. They don't teach us about this Bible. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of you that have been in these Christian churches, you've never heard none of this.
Right.
Because they don't teach you this. You see, you got a question?
We heard it, but we didn't understand it.
Or you heard it and you didn't understand it.
Yeah, let's put it like that.
You know?
So we all grew up in
So
Christian
thank the
churches,
Most
right?
High for the ISUPK, because we bringing it
We all grew
out.
up in Christian churches. but
We
didn't
bringing it out in the
understand
ISUPK.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
All right.
We heard it, we didn't understand
Let's
it.
keep going.
Exactly.
Verse 34. So that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see.
So that's all we can do is be mad. When we see this stuff going on, we can't do nothing about it but get mad. You know, you go into your bank account and you see, oh man, somebody took something out of my bank account. Why did they take this? Oh, well, we took it out because of some fees and fines, and you know, you can't do nothing about it. And all you can do is get mad. You know, we see our people on drugs. We see our mothers and our fathers becoming alcoholics, you know, because they're infiltrating all these drugs into our communities. We can't do nothing but get mad. You know? So thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see. So what we're seeing happening to our community, all we can do is get mad because we can't do nothing about it. You know? And the scripture says, what's the scripture about the oppression makes a wise man mad? You know? It makes us mad. That's all we can do. We see this stuff happening. We see that we can't get work. We get mad. Why can't we get a job? I'm willing to work. I'm willing to be on time. I'm willing to be the best employee you got. Why can't you hire me? You know? Because I'm a black man or I'm a Hispanic man. And what I've been noticing lately is the so-called customer service jobs. You know, anything that has to do with customer service, they give these jobs to effeminate men or homosexual men. When you see cashiers in the stores, they all look gay or effeminate. If you go into the hotel lobbies, the men working in there, customer service, they look gay or effeminate.
Right.
They're not going to hire no man looking like me, you know, to work behind a desk, you know, doing customer service because I'm not gay looking or I'm not effeminate looking.
Right.
And that's what they're looking for in the men today. So if you're a black man that's gay or effeminate, it's easy for you to get a job, you know. Though the men here in the ISUPK, we don't play that.
Right.
You know, we hard, you know. So if we can't get a job, that's all right, you know, because we're just going to continue to serve the Lord. All right? Keep going.
The Lord.
Verse 35.
Don't go.
For some reason, Slakia, sir, I was finding that Ecclesiastes 7:7 for you.
Oh, okay. Oh, don't worry about that.
You want to start on it so you can go on there?
Oppression makes a wise man
Yeah,
mad.
okay.
Yeah, don't worry
I'm
about
not
that.
going on that, sir.
All right, go ahead.
Verse 35. The Lord shall smite thee in the knees and in the legs with a sore box that cannot be he heals.
Okay, that's like gout and these different diseases that we get in our knees and our legs that don't heal. You know, a lot of our people, they get these diseases in their legs, you know, just like when it talks about the pestilence, you know, these diseases that we get. We're getting these diseases in our body now. We're getting these diseases that are in our legs, you know, joint pains that can't heal, arthritis that can't heal. You got a question?
No, I just wanted to add to that, to the point where we are spoiled.
Yeah.
Like you said.
Right, yeah. You know, yeah, it's spoiling us. It's making us rotten and breaking down, you know, at a young age, you know. Keep reading.
From the sole of thy foot unto the top of thy head.
So from the sole of your foot to the top of your head, we're getting aches and pains, you know. The older you get, you know, there's men that is 50 years old, you know, been working hard all their life, doing physical labor, working, you know, construction, you know, iron workers, you know, out there at 50 years old, sore every day when they come home. You know, their feet are sore. You know, we got men doing security guard jobs and standing on their feet for 8-10 hours a day. You know, come home, their legs are sore. You can't sit down. If you sit down, they're going to fire you. You got to keep roaming around. You know, that's what they do. Keep reading.
Verse 36. The Lord shall bring thee and thy king which thou hast set over thee into a nation which neither nor thy fathers have known.
So the Lord is going to bring our king into a nation, okay, where our fathers or us, we don't know. Okay? That's part of the transatlantic slave trade too. You know, the kings that we had back in those days, they brought those kings over here. Those were our leaders of our tribes. They captured them too. Brought them over here in a land that we don't even know. Okay? Nor thy fathers known. Our forefathers didn't even know these people. Our forefathers are, you know, the men that came before us in our nationality. You have a question, young man?
Yeah, so they're basically saying that they brought us into a land that not even my father knew or his father knew, because it was a land so upon that we forgot about it.
Right. Your father didn't know. Your father's father didn't know. Your father's father's father didn't know. Your father's 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 fathers didn't know.
But that's our land.
No, this is a land that we don't know of. We never knew about this land of North America where they put us on cargo slave ships and brought us over here to be slaves.
Because we didn't know.
We didn't know about this land.
It was alien to us.
We didn't know about these people. We didn't know none of this. Keep reading.
Okay.
Come on, sir. And there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone.
Okay, here we go. We read this before in the Babylon and Timbuktu, worshiping other gods, wood and stone. Other gods, wood and stone. It's talking about the wood is the wooden cross, the Christianity, the white Jesus.
Oh.
That's what we're worshiping, idols. The stone is the cobblestone of the Muslims.
Right.
That rocket at Mecca, you know, that's the wooden stone. So here in America, that's what we worship. We're either worshiping Christianity or we're worshiping Muslim or Islam. So it's either the wooden stone, which is the cross of the white Jesus, or we're worshiping the cobblestone. You know, there's no God in a rock. You know, there's no God in a wooden cross.
Right.
So that's what it's talking about. We will be brought into a nation that we don't know, and we will start worshiping idols that are from wood and stone. That's what this is referring to. Read.
Verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment.
And you will become an astonishment. What did we say an astonishment was?
A great surprise.
A great surprise. This is going to be a surprise. When people see us, they're surprised. They've never seen strong black men like this before. Read.
A proverb.
And a proverb. What's a proverb? Something that describes a noun, or is that a verb? What's a proverb?
I know it's an action
Proverb.
word.
It's an action word.
Yeah.
And keep reading.
A byword.
And a byword. So they're going to have all these different names for us. Okay? They're going to call us nigger. They're going to call us spick. They're going to call us wetback. They're going to call us coons. They're going to call us, they got all these Negroes. They got all these words that they're going to call us. These are bywords. Okay? They're not going to call us Israelites. You know? They're going to call us criminals. You know, that's what they're calling our people today, criminals and drug addicts.
If you think about it, we call ourselves out among ourselves.
Well, that's what we learned from the white man, to call ourselves these things. You see? So we become these bywords. We become these proverbs. Okay? Keep reading.
Among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee.
What verse are you on?
Still 37, sir.
Okay.
At the
So
end.
wherever the Lord will lead us, all these nations, you know, you think about it, every nation on the earth is calling a black man a nigger.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere. You know? Everywhere on the earth, they call a Mexican man a beaner or a wetback.
Mm-hmm.
You know? This is what they know us by. These words. These are the words that they've given us. Okay? Keep reading.
Verse 38. Thou shalt carry much seed out into the field, and thou shalt gather but little in, for the locust shall consume it.
So if you got your own field and you out there, you trying to grow some crops, you know, you're trying to have your little garden out there and everything, you're not going to be able to grow much food out there, because the locusts and the bugs and the insects will consume all your fruits. You know, you can't have a farm that you're going to be able to grow enough food to feed your nation of people. You know, it's just not going to happen for you. The Lord won't allow it because you didn't follow him. Keep reading.
Verse 39. Thou shalt plant vineyards and dress them, but shalt neither drink of the wine, nor gather the grapes, for the worm shall eat them.
Okay, so it's the same thing. You'll plant vineyards. You know, you won't be able to make wine out of them vineyards. You know, the white man's got all these vineyards out here. You know, they got you ever seen those wine testing places? Well, those wine testing places, they have vineyards behind there where they make their wine from. They grow their grapes. We'll never be able to do that, man. You know, our vineyards aren't going to grow. We ain't going to be able to have enough vineyards to make wine for our people. You know, keep reading.
Verse 40. Thou shalt have olive trees throughout all thy coasts. Thy coasts, like you. But thou shalt not anoint thyself with the oil, for thine olive shall cast his fruit.
Keep reading.
Verse 41. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters.
Thou shalt begot sons and daughters. So you will have sons and daughters. Read.
But thou shalt not enjoy them.
And you won't enjoy them. Okay? And when we look at it today, okay, we can go back into the transatlantic slave trade. We have sons and daughters. They take our sons and daughters and give them to another nation. But let's take a look at it in today's world. You know, we have sons and daughters today. We can't even enjoy them. For one, because our women are being taught how to be wicked women. You know, just because a black man can't get a job, now you don't want to let the black man see his child.
Right.
Just because the Hispanic man doesn't have a job, now you don't want to let the Hispanic man see his child.
Right.
You know, so we can't enjoy our children.
Or when a man does have a job, they're at the job so much that they don't see their children, so they can't enjoy them.
Exactly. That too. We work so hard sometimes, those that do have jobs. You know, we work so hard. Truck drivers, they out there working, you know, they're out on the road for 2, 3, 4 months at a time before they can come home and see their kids. But they got to be out there like that just so they can provide for their family. You know, read that again from the top.
Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them. For thou shalt go into captivity.
For they shall go into captivity. Your sons and daughters are going to go into captivity too. Because once your sons and daughters start getting of age where they can start getting these slaves, well, they're called jobs, but we call them slaves. When they can start getting these slaves, you're not going to be able to enjoy them anymore. Because they'll be doing the same thing that you was doing. Working, slaving, can't even be home. You see? Keep reading.
Verse 42. All thy trees and fruit of thy land shall the locusts consume.
Keep reading. So, we can't even grow fruits and vegetables because the bugs and insects will consume them. Read.
Verse 43. The strangers that is within the trees, within thee, shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low.
Okay, so the stranger that is within thee, the stranger that's within thee today is the white man.
Right.
That's the stranger that's here, that's within our communities today. The stranger that's within thee is the man that's oppressing us today. That's the man that's within thee. That's the stranger that's within thee. He will become very high. He's always going to be above us, and we will be very low. We will always be the bottom of the totem pole. As long as the white man can keep himself up high, he's going to keep us down low. And as long as he can keep us down low, he's going to stay up high, and he will continue to have rulership over this earth. Keep reading.
Verse 44. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him.
He will lend to us, and we won't lend to him. Whenever we want to get a loan, we can't go to our people. Our people don't have lending companies. If you want to go buy a car and you need a car loan, you can't go to your people to get a car loan. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians don't own car loan places. If you want to get a mortgage loan for your house, you can't go to a black man to get a mortgage loan for your house. If you want to go just to get a payday loan, they own all the payday loans. That's sucking your money down.
Right.
They charging you what? 100% interest on a payday loan. You get that payday loan, you're damn near stuck in that payday loan. You keep paying that payday because you can't win with it. You end up, if anybody ever got a payday loan before, you get stuck in that thing, man. It's like a revolving door that you just can't get out of.
I was gonna say, I got a title loan, and I was just being ignorant. I wasn't checking it out, and I thought I could borrow $2,400. At the end of the day, I paid triple that, and they still came.
Quadruple, 10 times the amount.
And I still had to give the trust.
Right. Go ahead, keep reading.
He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail.
He will always be on the tail end. Always. He's going to be the head of you all the time. And you will always be the tail. Read.
Verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed.
Okay, so all these curses that we're talking about, these are all curses that happen in the Black, Hispanic, and Native American communities. Okay, you got a question?
There's so many curses. We barely just the surface of it. I just wanted to say, I'm pretty sure we're gonna go over it. But is one of the curses to be isolated from one another? The black man, Hispanic man, the Native American, to where we don't. Because I would say, coming from a Hispanic background, we're told that we should not congregate with other black men.
Right.
Is that one of the curses as well?
Right, that is one of the curses, but it's not under Deuteronomy 28. But that it shows other places when the southern tribe and the northern tribe split. Okay, the southern tribe was Benjamin, Levi, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi was the southern tribe. They were the so-called blacks and West Indians and Haitians. Okay, and the northern tribes were predominantly the Hispanic tribes and the Native Indian tribes. Okay, they became enemies. They started warring against each other. Okay, this is in the book of 1 Kings and 2 Kings. If you read those books, it shows you about the split of the tribes and how they became enemies. So when the Bible is talking about love your enemy as you love yourself, it's not talking about the white man. It's not talking about all these other nations. Your enemy was your brother at one time that became your enemy. This is the enemy that the Bible is talking about. You see, because now y'all became enemies. You see, and that's still going on in today's world. The Mexicans were fighting the blacks. That's the enemies that we're talking about. Yeah, we become enemies. It's not in the Deuteronomy, but it is in the book of Kings, 2 Kings.
Yeah, that's the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, right?
Right, right.
God.
Okay, where we at here?
We're verse 45, sir.
Okay.
Because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee.
Okay, so this is why these curses have come upon thee. Because we will not follow the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High.
Right.
Because you read at the beginning in Deuteronomy 15 and 28:15, it says, if you hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God and do all his commandments. We don't do all his commandments. You know, we have to do all his commandments. Okay? And his commandments should not be grievous for us to do. It shouldn't be something hard for us to do. The reason that it's hard for us to follow the commandments of God is because of all the wickedness and all the abominations that we've learned here in America.
The brainwashing.
The brainwashing too. You know, everything that pleasures us, we don't want to let go of. You know, a lot of us like to eat that pork.
Right.
That pork, man, before I came into the truth, that pork tasted so good. Everything got pork in it. Them smothered pork chops, that fried bacon in the morning, it tasted so good. You know, and they find ways to make it taste even better. They put that pork in everything.
Right.
You know, the bacon cheddar cheeseburger. You know, they put the salads. You got the bacon bits that make them salads taste really good. You know what I'm saying? But it's an abomination.
Right.
You know, and the Lord says that we're not supposed to eat swine's flesh, but we eat it anyway because it's pleasurable for us. It tastes good to us. But there's other foods that the Lord gives us to eat that tastes even better than that. You know, you ever had like fried beef bacon in the morning instead of pork bacon? Man, that beef bacon tastes good. I'm not too much for the turkey bacon, but that beef bacon, that's the bomb right there. The beef sausages, that's the bomb right there. You know, that's why they have pork so inexpensive. You know, because that's a target to the black and Hispanic communities. Because we don't want to have to pay $8 for a pack of bacon, beef bacon, when we can pay $2.99 for a packet of pork bacon and get 3 packs of those. You see what I'm saying? We're looking for the bargain all the time. You know? So, go ahead.
I was going to say, going back to that brainwashing topic,
Yeah.
we're told that if we have a job and we work until we're 65, that's living the American dream.
Right.
But in our reality, it's not. It shouldn't be like that because the majority of us are just cattle for the white man.
Exactly. We're just cattle. We're slaves. That's it. You know, they want, you know, the age of retirement used to be 55. Then they increased it to 65. Now they're trying to make it to 69. You know, and the lifespan of a black man is only till 70, 75. You know, so if you can only retire at 69, that means you got 6 more years to enjoy your retirement before you die.
If you're lucky.
You done worked 40, 50 years. You know? White man's the devil that the Bible speaks
Right.
of. Go ahead, officer.
I was gonna say the last I heard it was 63 for a black man.
Oh, the lifespan?
Lifespan
For a
of
black man?
black man 63.
Yeah.
For a black man,
For a black man.
not a white, not anybody. A
Go
black
ahead.
man.
And retirement now is 66.
Oh, it's 66
They
now.
just sent us the paperwork, it's 66.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, and they trying to bump it up to 69.
Don't even make it to
You know?
Dude.
So by the time you retire, you broke down, you on your last legs. Go
As
ahead.
long as we know, as long as we keep on figuring out the truth, that retirement gonna go higher.
Yeah, it's going to
For real,
keep
that's
going
how I
high.
feel. Yeah, it's going higher and higher because there's more black men in this world figuring out that we are the people.
Right. Okay, where we at here?
Verse 46, sir.
Okay, verse 46. Yeah, keep reading.
And they shall be upon and they shall be upon the head for a sign.
Read that again.
And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
So, this is an important scripture right here. Because these curses shall be a sign. Okay? This is a sign to let you know who the Hebrew Israelites are. These curses are the sign because we can't go by genealogy. We can't trace back bloodlines. So we have to go by these signs. This is a sign that the Lord gave us to let us know that we are God's chosen people, that we are the 12 lost tribes of the nation of Israel. These are the signs. This is a sign. A sign is something that lets you know what something is, right? So if you see a sign that says Walmart, you know that's the Walmart store over there. Well, these curses are a sign that's put on our people and put on our seed, which is our children, forever. These curses are a sign to let you know who the nation of Israel are and who the 12 lost tribes are. Go ahead.
And if I could, I was going to say about this is how we would find out, because if we went to DNA, you know how people try to go take DNA tests. There's a man who took 3 different DNA tests, and they gave him different nationalities as he was, different percentage. So we can't even go off of that DNA test.
Yeah.
That's right.
You can't believe it, ancestry and all that shit.
So this is how we know who we are.
They threw us over ships and shit when we died. How the fuck you getting to the blood before they threw us over the ship?
Okay, where we at here? Verse 47. Read.
Sir. Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness.
So here we go again. Because we do not serve the Most High. What does serving the Most High mean? We follow His laws, statutes, and commandments.
Right.
And we don't do it joyfully. We complain. What, I can't eat that pork? What, I can't be a homosexual? What, I can't sleep with my brother's wife? Man,
Right.
F that nigga. You know? We complain about it. We don't serve Him joyfully. We don't say, hey, look, I'm going to treat my brother like I treat myself.
Right.
You know, I'm not going to sit here and sleep with my brother's wife. You know, I'm not going to sit here and emasculate my man. You know, I'm not going to do these things. You know, because if you don't do it and you serve the Lord, you know, there's a scripture that says, if you serve your husband, I'm just going to paraphrase, if you serve your husband, you're not worthy of you're not worthy of serving the Lord. You know, if you do everything just to make your husband happy, you're not worthy of serving the Lord. You know, because you're not supposed to be doing things just to make your husband happy. You're not supposed to be doing things just to make your wife happy. You're not supposed to just be serving your wife and your husband. You're supposed to be serving the Lord.
Right.
Because if you serve the Lord, you're going to make your husband and your wife happy.
Period.
You see what I'm saying?
Period.
Okay, where we at here?
And with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things.
Keep reading.
Verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemy.
Therefore you will serve your enemies. So because we're not following the laws and commandments of God, we will be serving our enemies. We already discussed who our enemies are, because in Deuteronomy 28:68 it says we will be sold unto our enemies. We know that we were sold to the Spaniards, to the white man. You know, they're basically the same people. You know, the Ashkenazi Jews, they had a hand in it too. Okay, so we will be serving our enemies. Read.
Which the Lord shall send against thee.
So the Lord will send these people against us. He will send our enemies against us, and we will have to end up serving them. Read.
In hunger.
In hunger.
And in thirst.
In hunger and in thirst. We have to serve our enemies in hunger and in thirst. What does that mean? That means that we have to buy our food from Him. We have to serve Him just so we can get our food. We don't own any grocery stores. We have to go to His grocery stores to get our food. We don't own the fast food restaurants. We got to go to our enemies to buy our food. We don't own farms, you know, where we can provide food for our family and for our nation of people. Go ahead.
We're so brainwashed that we gladly go there. Like, we don't even think twice.
Exactly. You know, exactly. Because we think that we're living lusciously here. We're living deliciously here.
Lavish.
We're living lavishly here. You know, so we have to serve them in hunger and in thirst. Go ahead.
Yeah, and if we would have kept the commandments, like you think about the Black Wall Street in 1930s, when we had our own communities, our own hospitals, before Martin Luther King came in and wanted to integrate us with other people so we could start going back to wanting what they wanted instead of keeping what we had.
That's right. That's right. So we will serve our enemies in thirst. Whenever we want something to drink, we have to go to them. We don't. They bottled up the water now. You remember when there was no, the older men, Solomon. You remember, they didn't. You couldn't buy water. When I first heard about you got to buy water in the store now. All you had to do is go to your faucet. But even that you had to pay for because you're paying your water bill. Our people don't own the water companies. We don't have any Arrowheads or sparkling water companies. You see what I'm saying? So we have to depend on our enemies just so we can have water. The Native American Indians used to put buckets out and let the rainwater fill up and they would use that water. The white man made that illegal. You cannot put a bucket out and collect rainwater. That's how wicked and evil it is. That's why we call the white man the devil. He's our oppressor. We call him that because he's wicked and he's evil. He's a deceiver. He wants to do nothing but destroy us and oppress us. He's the biggest liar there is on the face of this earth. He's the biggest killer, murderer. He's like a plague and a disease. That's why we call him the devil. Okay, keep reading.
And in nakedness.
And in nakedness. If we want clothes, we don't have no import-export textile companies. We don't have no fabric manufacturing companies or clothes manufacturing companies. We have to go to our enemies to buy our clothes. Keep reading.
And in wanting of all things.
In want of all things. Whatever you want, you have to depend on the enemy. You have to depend on the European white man who's our oppressor, who is Esau, the Edomites. You have to depend on him for want of all things. If you want to put your money in a bank, you got to go to Esau. You got to go to the white man to put your money in a bank. You need to put your kids in school, we go into white schools. Whatever you want to do. You want to go to a hospital? Our people don't own any hospitals. You got to go to the white man's hospital. We have to depend on him for want of everything that we have. Okay? Keep reading.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon our neck. I mean, just look at the transatlantic slave trade. Look at the runaway slaves. How they used to put those yokes of iron on their neck. They put the yoke of iron on your neck to train you. That's what it's for. It's to train you. If you put a yoke of iron around a dog's neck, say you put a leash on a dog's neck, and that leash goes out 6 feet. Okay? That dog will run out to that leash 6 feet, it'll snag him back, and he'll stop right there. You keep that leash on him long enough, he'll be trained to stop right at that point. So when you take the leash off, he'll run out there and stop right at that same point. That's what the yoke of iron does to us. It trains us to stay in the place that the white man wants us to be in. You got a question?
Not just around the neck, it's also the shackles that are on our feet of iron.
Right, that's being chained. That's all part of the same thing. The shackles on our feet. That's the same thing. It's to keep us in bondage and to keep us trained to do what they want us to do. You see? Keep reading.
Until he have destroyed thee.
Until he has destroyed thee. Right now they got those chains and shackled around us. They're only allowing us to do certain things, and they're destroying us. And they're not just destroying us physically, but they're destroying us mentally. And that's even worse sometimes. Our people are destroyed mentally. We don't know who we are. We don't know where we belong. Because they beat everything out of us. Our nationality, they beat it out of us. Our languages, they beat it out of us. Our customs, they beat it out of us. Our nationalities, they beat it out of us. We don't know who we are anymore. Especially blacks, we always trying to find some place to fit in. We want to be Muslims. I can remember back in the day when all the little black communities, they were wearing these kung fu gear with the little kung fu shoes on. Trying to be Chinese or something. We were trying to fit into that culture. We're always trying to find a culture to fit in instead of going back to this Bible and following the laws and statutes of God.
Right.
We don't know who we are anymore, basically.
Yeah, we don't know who we are. Because they beat all of that. They beat it all out of us. We don't know where we come from. Okay, keep reading.
Verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far.
So the Lord will bring a nation against thee from afar. Okay? We don't know where this white man came from. He came from far places. But he brought this man against us. Read.
from the ends of the earth.
From the ends of the earth. Read.
As swift as the eagle flieth.
As swift as the eagle flieth. If you take a look at that right there, the eagle. The eagle is a symbol of every European nation that there is.
Right.
The French symbol is the eagle. The Europeans is the eagle. The Russians is the eagle. Every nation of white people that has put us into captivity has the symbol of an eagle. Even America today. The symbol of America is an eagle.
Right.
Okay, they will come at us. Read that again.
From the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle
As
flieth.
swift as the eagle flieth. Read.
A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
A nation that we don't understand their tongue. We don't understand that language. When they brought us over here, we had our own language. We didn't understand his language. But they forced us to learn their language. You know, just like in the Apocrypha, when we look in the book of the Maccabees, when the King Antiochus, he forced the Israelites to stop talking their language. He stopped them from worshiping their God. He forced them to stop their traditions and their customs and their cultures. And anybody that was found to do it would get killed. He put out an order for that. You know? And that's what was happening here in America during slavery. You know, they were beating it all out of us. They didn't want us to learn who we are. They didn't want us to speak our own language. They wanted us to learn their language. So this is a nation that came from afar like a swift eagle. He came in swiftly too. Yeah, go ahead.
Didn't they destroy basically our gods and our shrines or whatever and impose theirs on us?
Yes, they did.
And then the other thing I want to say is, you're saying about how America's the eagle. It's ironic because the eagles for the white man symbolizes freedom.
Right.
So that's very ironic.
Right. Exactly. Right. Okay. So where are we at? And you know, in the tongue, we didn't understand their language. Keep reading, verse 50.
A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor sue favor to the young.
So this is a nation that has a fear countenance. A countenance is the way that you look. They look for some reason, we're intimidated by the white man. You know, he's got this certain countenance that we're afraid of. You know, and he shows no favor to the young or to the old. You know, he'll kill a young man out on the street just as quick as he'll kill a black man out on the street. He'll put a young little 5-year-old boy out in the cotton field just like he'll put a 70-year-old man out in the cotton field.
Right.
He has no respect for the young or the old. Read.
Verse 51. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle. Thy cattle, and the fruit of thy land, until thou be destroyed.
So he will eat everything that we do. You know, look at the sharecroppers. When we tried to come out of slavery, you know, what they said was, look, you produce so much fruit every year, or so much cotton, or so many vegetables, or whatever, on this farm and I'm selling it to you, but you have to produce this much, and you can pay off this farm, and it can eventually be yours. But they would just tax them and charge them with so much, and it was never enough. They were always charging blacks more. They were charging these sharecroppers more and more, and they fell, instead of getting ahead, they fell behind. You know, they would eat it up. Go ahead.
That's in today's world because they give you a 30-year mortgage, and
There
by
you-
the time you finish paying, you don't even finish paying half.
There you go. Give him a hand. That's a good example right there. You know, with 30-year mortgages, you never get ahead of that. You know, you're supposed to own this house. You know, you don't never own that house. You know, most of the time, by the time that house is paid for in 30 years, it was passed on to your family member. Now he got the mortgage.
And then you're dead, probably.
Yeah.
You don't even get to enjoy it.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay. Keep reading.
Sir. Which also shall not leave thee either corn, wine, or oil, or the increase of thine kind, or flock of thy sheep, until he have destroyed thee.
Okay, that's the same thing. You know, he won't leave us anything until he's destroyed us. You know, he doesn't want us to have anything. We can't have no increase in nothing. The white man wants to take everything we got. You know, look at those taxes that he takes. Every dime you make, he want a penny. You know, he wants a part of everything that you get. He has to have a part of it.
Right.
Your sheep, your cattle, your job, everything. He has to take everything that you have until you don't have anything anymore, and he's still not happy. He still wants even more. Go ahead.
That's like taxes. You work all year, and he take money out your taxes.
Right.
The taxes, right? Then he give it back to you. This money that belongs to you already, he gives it right back to you for taxes. That's your money.
And you know the funny part about that is he gives it back to you, so you'll spend it on his products. So he gets it back again.
Exactly.
So he ain't giving you nothing.
Black Friday, Christmas,
You see?
Thanksgiving. Yes. Yes, sir.
Keep reading.
Verse 52. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates, until thy high and fence walls come down.
So he will besiege you. He will destroy you and conquer you until your walls fall down. It doesn't matter how strong you fortify your fortress, he will take over you. That's what he does. He learns how to do what you do to make money, and then he conquers you. And first he learns how to do it, and then he destroys you. He takes over it. You know, and then he makes what you're doing a criminal act. You know, look at like the numbers game. You know, our communities used to play the numbers all the time. That's how, you know, our people were able to make a little extra money. We would play the numbers. They made it illegal. The white man made the numbers illegal.
What you mean?
You can't buy numbers anymore. When you would pick 3 to 5 numbers, you know, they had like the bookies in the neighborhood. You too young to understand
Yeah,
that.
what I'm saying.
You know, but they had bookies. They had bookies, man, where they go ahead.
But you understand, he dropped the lotto on him.
Yeah. So that's what they did. You know, what they did was they took what we developed, how we can make a little extra money in our income, and they made that illegal. But now they got the lottery. You know, now they making billions of dollars on the lottery. Go ahead.
Not just
My
that.
nigga ready.
When we when we were in the hood,
He ready.
playing dice, that's illegal as well. So like
That's my
gambling in a way,
Exactly.
it's illegal unless you do it at a casino.
That's right. If you're on the corner, like, you know, the brothers be on the liquor store at the corner, how they used to shoot dice up against the wall. You know, if you get caught doing that, you're going to jail. You know, but you can go down there to Vegas and throw them dice on that table all day long. You know what I'm saying?
I got a question.
Go ahead.
But it's not saying by the white man because that's an Indian reservation that you're doing that on.
What do you mean?
The Indians own that.
But do you know that it's regulated by the white man?
Right.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
not
all
allowed
those
to be.
casinos,
Yeah.
even though they're on their Indian reservations, they're regulated by the United States
Because
government.
it's allowed to be. Yes,
Yeah.
I got you.
You see what I'm saying?
I got you. All right.
Okay, keep reading.
Wherein thou trusted throughout all thy land, and he shall besiege thee in all thy gates throughout all thy land, which the Lord thy God hath given thee.
Okay, so he will tear us down. Besiege me, he'll tear you down anywhere that you live. You know, you might want to try a different life. Things ain't working for you out here in Los Angeles. You might go down there to Texas, Dallas. You know, you start trying to build your little empire down there. He's gonna tear that down. You know, you say, well, you know what, things ain't working over here in Texas. Let me go up there and try to, work something out here in New York. You know, you start building your little empire up there, he'll tear that down. It don't matter where you go, the white man gonna tear you down.
Right.
Go ahead.
Black Wall Street, no?
Huh?
Black Wall Street.
Black Wall Street, exactly. You know, keep reading. Verse 53.
Verse 53. And thou shalt eat the fruit of thine own body, the flesh of thy sons and thy daughters.
So you'll eat the fruit of your own body and the flesh of your sons and daughters. Meaning that whatever your sons and daughters is making, now that you don't have no money, that you're going to start wanting them to trying to get all of their money that they got. You're going to start eating everything that they have. You know? That's what the white man's going to do. When your sons and daughters start making money, they're going to start eating everything that they have. Okay? Keep reading.
which the Lord thy God hath given thee, in the siege, and in the straitness, wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee.
Okay, we're gonna stop right there with the curses, but I want to encourage you to just continue to read in the rest of the curses because we're running out of time. My time is just about up. But I just want to tell you that when we talk about the 12 lost tribes of the nation of Israel, the 12 lost tribes are, you got the tribe of Judah, which is the so-called Negroes in America here today. You have the tribe of Benjamin, which is the West Indians, which is the Jamaicans and Trinidadians and Bahamians, and then you have the nation of Levi. The Levi is the Haitians, and then you have Ephraim. Ephraim is the Puerto Ricans. You have Manasseh, which is the Cubans. Simeon, which is the Dominicans. You got Reuben, which is the Seminole Indians. Gad, which is the Native American Indians. Naphtali, which is from Argentina all the way to Chile. You got Zebulon, which is Guatemala to Panama. You got Asher, which is the Colombians and the Brazilians and Uruguay and Peru. And then you got the Issachar, which is the Mexicans. Okay, those are the 12 lost tribes of the nation of Israel. If you want to learn more about that, Captain Katazah out of Boston, he has a 12-tribe lecture, and he breaks all those tribes down. He's got concrete, he's got archaeology, anthropology, history, to break all those tribes down to show you that these are the 12 lost tribes of the nation of Israel.
Right.
And his breakdown hasn't been refuted yet. So if you want to learn about that, just go to his go to UPK Boston, and go look at his lecture, and you'll be able to see about this. Okay. You got a question?
No problem. My bad. It's something I can do myself.
Okay. So we're going to end the class here with that. And I want to turn the class over to Officer Kapar.
You good?
Officer Kapar, I just want you to read, just read the announcements here.
Let me know.
ISUPK security announcements. We are the ISUPK, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Grew for a new brother.